Singapore is a city-state in Southeast Asia, located about 85 miles north of the equator. The territory of Singapore covers a slightly smaller area than that of New York City, and this map shows where Singapore is located exactly. Some history of Singapore. Fishermen and pirates are thought to be the original inhabitants of Singapore Island. History dates from the 11th century, when in 1052 rulers of the southern Indian Chola Kingdom attacked the island. After World War I, the British started to modernize defenses, and in 1921 a large naval base was built in Singapore. Since the 1970s, Singapore has been pursuing an economic policy that stresses export manufacturing and trade. It has also been active in regional affairs, being a founding member of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, established in 1967. This is Singapore's flag. It's two equal horizontal bands. Red is on the top and white is on the bottom. General economic statistics. The real GDP growth rate was 2.2%. The fiscal deficit/surplus as percent of GDP was 9.0%, and inflation was measured at 5%. Main trading partners. Import commodities are machine and equipment, mineral fuels, chemicals, and foodstuff. Their import partners: Malaysia, the US, Japan, China, Taiwan, and Thailand. Export commodities and export partners. Export commodities are machinery and equipment, including electronics, consumer goods, chemicals, mineral fuels. And their export partners: Malaysia, US, Hong Kong, China, Japan, Taiwan, Thailand, and South Korea. The exchange rate is $1 equals 1.41109 Singapore dollars. Main systems of measurement for Singapore. The metric system is used there, but some local measurements are also used, as shown in the chart below. Singapore's major holidays are Sick Day on June 1st and Hari Raya on August 9th. Main languages in Singapore. Religious freedom is guaranteed by the Singapore Constitution and the federal government. Main religions of Singapore. Religious freedom is guaranteed by the Singapore Constitution, and the federal government generally allows people the freedom to practice their religion. Singapore prides itself as being a country of religious tolerance, which by its nature translates into ethnic and cultural tolerance as well. Main ethnic groups. The total population of Singapore is around 5.5 million. The population composition of Singapore is diverse. Singapore is known as being a multicultural country and home to a tolerant society that respects the cultural diversity of its inhabitants. General etiquette for meals. The elderly and those with seniority are always given an immense respect when meeting contacts. They are to be addressed with high status and elderly background first. since politeness demands that a Singaporean not disagree openly, the word no is rarely heard, and restraint in communication is the norm. General etiquette for meetings. Do not fall into the trap of thinking that all non-Western countries are lax when it comes to time. In Singapore, being on time for business meetings is considered the norm. Arriving late for a meeting with an executive is very bad form. In business, always formally present business cards during meetings. And business dress in Singapore is conservative. Singapore's World Corruption Index. Singapore ranked 7 out of 178 in 2014 and scored 84 out of 100 on the Corruption Index. Singapore World Business Index. Construction permit processed 96%. Obtained water and sewage connection in 7 days. Sign up for employee compensation insurance 1 day in high income. Religion importance. Singapore had 28,407 marriages and 7,307 divorces in 2014. Singapore is well known in the world as a melting pot of cultures and for its religious tolerance and flexible work arrangements are available in Singapore. Core beliefs and value for country. Social problems and control. The crime rate is low. The judicial system is based on the British legal system. Older people ideally are treated with respect, but wealth and status may suppress age distinctions. Misconceptions others may have about the country or people. It is not illegal to chew gum on the street in Singapore. Character-based stereotypes. The idea that Singaporeans are arrogant stems from a misunderstanding of politeness markers in their culture. Singaporeans are not boring, they have a bustling arts and culture scene. Main do's and taboos. Touching someone else's head regardless of age is inappropriate as the head is considered sacred in many Eastern traditions. Standing with the hands on the hip is always interpreted as an angry, aggressive posture. And Singapore is the commercial center of Southeast Asia, famous for being very safe, conservative, and orderly. Visitors should be aware that Singaporeans' array of stigma laws apply to natives and foreigners. Concerns of doing businesses in Singapore. The standard corporate tax rate was 20%, but has been recently reduced to 17% for corporate profits above 300,000. There are no insurgent movements operating inside of Singapore that could directly threaten its government or general population. Singapore is an interim destination for Golden Triangle heroin, as well as a base for money laundering activity. Singapore interesting facts about animals. The Jurong Bird Park has a collection of over 500 birds representing 135 species, the world's most comprehensive and admired collections of Asian birds, including 24 threatened species such as the ballet manat. Jurong Bird Park is also home to 100 penguins with 5 different penguin species. The iconic waterfall is the park's largest walk-in aviary with over 600 free-flying birds from 50 species. A couple more animal interesting facts. The Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement will have policies on country sanctions to save more than 10,000 pangolins which are killed every year for traditional medicines in their meat. The Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement will also give the power to government to bring charges against the killers of these wonderful animals, or the country will face sanctions. Some interesting facts on Singapore itself. The largest fountain in the world is located in Singapore at Suntec City, made of cast bronze. Its cost is estimated at $6 million, and it was built in 1997. The Guinness World Book of Records for the longest human domino chain was set in Singapore on 30th of September in 2000. It was formed by 9,234 students. I hope you enjoyed our presentation, and thank you for your time.